Good morning, children. In your previous class, you studied about the force and pressure. See, children, you might have seen a driver of a car or a truck slowing down a vehicle at a traffic signal. You too slow down your bicycle whenever you need it by applying the brakes. See, have you ever thought why a vehicle slows down when brakes are applied, children? Not only vehicles, any object moving over the surface of another object slows down when no external force is applied on it. See, whenever no external force is applied, the object slows down. Finally, it stops. See, have you not seen a moving ball on the ground stopping after some time? See, a moving ball stops. A moving ball stops after some time. And why do you slip when we step on a banana peel? And why is it difficult to walk on a smooth and a wet floor? For all these questions, you will find the answers in this chapter. That is friction. Today, we will learn about the force of friction. See, here is one activity. Here, you gently push a book on a table. See the figure 8.1a here, children. You gently push a book on a table. Here you observe that it stops after moving some time. The book stops after moving some time. And you repeat this activity pushing the book from the opposite direction. See figure 8.1b, children, here. Here the activity is repeated by pushing the book in the opposite direction. Now, does the book stop this time too? See, children, when you push it from the opposite direction, now does the book stops? See, can we say that a force must be acting on the book opposing its motion? Now, this force is called as the force of friction. See, children, first you have to push a book on a table here, and the book stops after moving some distance here, and you repeat this activity pushing the book from the opposite direction. Now, a force is acting here on the book opposing its motion, and this force is called as the force of friction. And you saw here that if you apply a force along the left, see children, if you apply a force along the left here, the friction acts along the right. Here the friction acts along the right side. And if you apply a force along the right, if you apply the force along the right, the friction acts along the left here. And in both the cases, the force opposes the motion of the book here. In both the cases, the frictional force opposes the motion of the book, and the force of friction always opposes the applied force. The force of friction always opposes the applied force. And in this activity, the force of friction acts between the surface of the book and the surface of the table here. This is the surface of the table, and this is the surface of the book here. And the force of friction acts between the surface of the book and the surface of the table. And is this friction same for all the surfaces, and does it depend on the smoothness of the surfaces? Now, let us find out this. See, here it is the factors affecting the friction, and here is one activity. You have to tie a string around a brick here. Tie a string around a brick and pull the brick by a spring balance. See children, you tie a string here along a brick here around a brick, and you pull the brick here by a spring balance. This is a spring balance, children. Spring balance is, it is a device used for measuring the force acting on the object. It is a device used for measuring the force acting on the object, and it consists of a coiled spring. It consists of a coiled spring, and which is gets stretched when a force is applied on it, and stretching of the spring is measured by the pointer moving on the graduated scale. Here will be the graduated scale. The stretching of the spring is measured by a pointer moving on a graduated scale, and the reading on the scale gives the magnitude of the force. The reading on the scale gives the magnitude of the force here. And when the brick just, see children, here first you tie a string around a brick and you pull the brick by a spring balance, and you need to apply some force here. Some force must be applied here. You note down the reading on the spring. When you pull the brick here, you need to apply some force here, and when a force is applied, you note down the reading on the spring balance. And when the brick just begins to move, when you apply the force, the brick begins to move here, and you note down the reading in the spring balance. It gives you a measure of the force of a friction between the surface of the brick and the floor. See children, this is the floor. Whenever you pull the brick here by applying some force, then you note down the reading in the spring balance. It gives you a measure of the force of a friction between the surface of the brick and the floor here. This is a brick is being pulled by the spring balance, and now you wrap a piece of a polythene around a brick here. You wrap a piece of a polythene around the brick and repeat the activity. And do you observe here any difference in the readings of the spring balance in the above two cases? See children, you can try this in your home. You wrap the polythene around the brick and repeat the activity again, and definitely you will find the difference in the readings of the spring balance. And what might be the reason for this difference? And you repeat this activity by wrapping a piece of a jute bag around the brick, and you observe that what will happen. You can try this in your home. You will definitely find the difference here, and you find out the reason for that. And here is another activity. You make an inclined plane here. Make an inclined plane on a smooth floor. See children, this is the inclined plane on a smooth floor or on a table. Inclined plane on smooth floor or a table, and you may use a wooden board supported by a bricks. You can also use a wooden board supported by the bricks or a books. See children, these are the books here. You can use a wooden board. It is the wooden board supported by the bricks or a books. See children, this is the wooden board supported by the books here. Now put a mark with a pen here. See children, this is a mark with a pen. You put a mark with a pen at any point A. At any point A. See, at any point A. You consider this as a mark A. You consider this mark as a mark A on the inclined plane. Now let the pencil shell move. Now let the pencil shell move down from this point. Now let the pencil shell move with this point here. Now, how far does it move on the table before coming to rest? You note down the distance. See children, first what we have to do here, you make an inclined plane on a smooth floor or on a table, and you may use a wooden board supported by the big books or a bricks, and you put a mark with a pen. Put a mark with a pen at any point on the wooden board here, and on the inclined plane, that is a, and you may mark it as a A. This is a A, and now let the pencil cell move down. Now let this pencil cell, this is the, consider this is the pencil cell. Now let this pencil cell move down here, and from this point, now you observe that how far does it move on the table before coming to rest, and note now, and you note down the distance. Now again you spread a piece of a cloth here. Now you again spread a piece of a cloth over the table, and you make sure that there is no wrinkles in the cloth. There should not be wrinkles. The cloth should be plain here. There should not be wrinkles in the cloth, and you try this activity again. You repeat this activity by spreading a thin layer of sand over the table. You repeat this activity by spreading a thin layer of sand over the table, and maintain the slope throughout the activity. This slope should be same here. Throughout the activity, this slope should be same, and you repeat this activity by spreading the thin layer of sand over the table, and you maintain the slope throughout this activity. See children, in which cases is the distance covered is a minimum, and why is this distance covered by the pencil different every time, and try to reason why children, and to discuss this result. Now, does the distance covered depend on the nature of the surface on which the cell moves, and could the smoothness of the surface of the cell also affect the distance traveled by it? See children, you can try this activity in your home, and will come to know that the distance traveled when the when you try the distance on a plain table, and here the distance covered will be more here by the pencil cell, and when you place of a piece of a cloth here without wrinkles in it, and here the distance will be less compared to the previous one here, and again you spread a thin layer of a sand here. Instead of cloth, you spread a thin layer of a sand here, and you maintain the slope throughout the activity, the same slope, and here the distance will be again, when you spread a thin layer of a sand, the distance will be again less here. Means the distance covered depend on the nature of the surface on which the cell moves here, and the smoothness of the surface also affect the distance traveled by it. You can try this in your home children. And the friction is caused by the irregularities. The friction is caused by the irregularities on the two surfaces in contact. Even those surfaces which appear very smooth have a large number of minute irregularities on them. You observe here children, figure 8.5. These are the surface irregularities between the surface of the book here. See children, this is the surface of the book, and this is the surface of the table. This is the irregularities between the surface of the book and the surface of the table. See here, the friction is caused by the irregularities on the two surfaces in a contact. Even those surfaces which appear very smooth here, the surfaces appear very smooth, even though there will be the irregularities. And irregularities on the two surfaces lock into one another. These irregularities, lock into one another. When we attempt to move any surface, we have to apply a force to overcome the interlocking. See children, when we attempt to move any surface, we have to apply a force to overcome this interlocking. On rough surfaces, there are a large number of irregularities. See, on the rough surfaces, there will be a large number of irregularities, and these are called as the irregularities, children. And so, the force of friction is greater if a rough surface is involved. See, children, the force of friction is greater on the rough surfaces. And we see that the friction is caused by the interlocking of the irregularities. The friction is caused by the interlocking of the irregularities in the two surfaces. It is obvious that the force of friction will increase if the two surfaces are pressed harder. See, children, it is obvious that the force of friction will increase if the two surfaces are pressed harder. You can experience it by dragging a mat when nobody is sitting on it and when a person is sitting on it. See, children, when you drag a mat when nobody is sitting on it, you can easily move the mat there, and when a person is sitting on it, the friction will be more there and you can't easily move the mat. See, children, here a person is pushing the box. You have to push on the box to keep it moving. See, you recall your experience, children, when last time you moved a heavy box from one place to another. See, you maybe have done this when you moved a heavy box from one place to another. If you have no such experience, you can get this experience now. See, children, you can think that which is easier, to move the box from a rest or to move it when it is already in a motion. Which one is easier, children? When you move the box from rest or to move it when it is already in a motion. See, you can easily move the box when it is in a motion, and because there will be the friction will be less there, and when the box is at rest, you can't easily move it because the box will be heavy. You can't easily move it. Here, the force is required to overcome the friction at the instant an object starts moving from rest. It is a measure of a static friction. The force required to overcome the friction at the instant an object starts moving from rest is a measure of a static friction. And on the other hand, the force required to keep the object moving with the same speed, it is a measure of a sliding friction. See, children, you remember this? The force required to overcome the friction at the instant an object starts moving from rest, it is a measure of the static friction, and the force required to keep the object moving with the same speed, this is a measure of a sliding friction. And when the box starts sliding, the contact points on its surface do not get enough time to lock into the contact points on the floor. So the sliding friction is slightly smaller than the static friction, and you find it somewhat easier to move the box already in a motion than to get it started. See, children, this is the reason why you can easily move the heavy box which is already in a motion. See, because when the box starts sliding, the contact points on its surface, do not get enough time to lock into the contact points on the floor, and so the sliding friction is slightly, the sliding friction will be slightly smaller there than the static friction, and you find it somewhat easier to move the box already in motion than to get it started. Static friction means it is the force required to overcome the friction at the instant an object starts moving from rest, and the force required to keep the object moving with the same speed, it is the measure of a sliding friction, because here the sliding friction is slightly smaller than the static friction. It is easier to move the box which is already in a motion. See children, today we learned about the force of friction and the factors affecting the friction. You try these activities in your home, children, and the next concepts we will learn in our next class. Thank you.